to the political regime. That's a very, very sick society. I still have a hard time to tell my family today in China, I love you in Chinese, because we were criticized that time if you do that. So they're not used to it. But I tell my kids in this country all the time, I love you in both Chinese and English. I have no problem. But I couldn't do that to my own family members in China. Is that sick? And that's why some immigrants are not standing up, speaking up like me, because they are still trapped in their indoctrinated mind, in their old mentality. Some are afraid. They cannot, conquer that fear. Their government might still give them the retaliation. I keep telling myself, well, this is my duty. I cannot live in fear. I'm going to say whatever I believe is true.
Well, Lily, thank you so much for joining us today. Lily for Liberty, that's your Facebook page. Be sure to go there, like her page. She's updating constantly every day, a lot of calls to action. I know people are always looking for solutions. How can we actually do anything about this tyranny? And you do provide a lot of those things there, just very simple steps that people can do one person at a time. Yes, an individual can make a difference. lilyforliberty.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that's it for the show tonight. Thank you for watching. If you are watching us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button and become a subscriber to the Alex Jones channel. You can also become a member of prisonplanet.tv. For your subscription, you can share your username and password with up to 20 people at the same time, and you'll get instant access to over 18 years worth of content that you will not find on YouTube. So those are just a few of the perks. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you here again Monday at 7 p.m. Central.
In the past decade, we have witnessed unparalleled scientific discoveries in the area of health. But no one has put together a formula that focuses directly on brain health, nerve growth factors, and optimizing your cellular energy at the same time. DNA Force is one of the most expensive formulas to produce. Some of the ingredients in DNA Force are $12,000 a kilogram. We are using the coveted, patented, only American source of PQQ, CoQ10, and more. You want the best that's out there at the lowest price anywhere? Well, we're bringing you a total win-win. The ultimate value, cutting-edge, trailblazing game changer that also supports the InfoWar. We have produced a limited run of DNA Force, and it will take up to 12 weeks to produce more once we sell out. Secure your DNA Force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. DNA Force from InfoWars Life.
It's very important for us to align ourselves with the 99.9% of Muslims who are looking for the same thing we're looking for: order, peace, prosperity. And so, I don't quibble with labels.
What I'm saying is that in his rhetoric, I very rarely hear him say the things that I used to hear Ronald Reagan say, the things I used to hear Bill Clinton say about how much he loves America. I do hear him criticize America much more often than other American presidents. And when it's not in the context of an overwhelming number of statements about the exceptionalism of America, it sounds like he's more of a critic than he is a supporter.
That was the profile that I published in the New Yorker. Somebody frustrated and disappointed. And that's what's frustrating to me sometimes about Obama, is that the world seems to disappoint him.
At times, we too have failed to live up to our ideals. That America has plenty of problems within its own borders. This is true. In a summer marked by instability in the Middle East and Eastern Europe, I know the world also took notice of the small American city of Ferguson, Missouri, where a young man was killed and a community was divided. So yes, we have our own racial and ethnic tensions.
I've got a pen and I've got a phone, and I can use that pen to sign executive orders and take executive actions and administrative actions that move the ball forward.
Unfortunately, you've grown up hearing voices that incessantly warn of government as nothing more than some separate, sinister entity that's at the root of all our problems. Some of these same voices also do their best to gum up the works. They'll warn that tyranny is always lurking just around the corner. You should reject these voices.
I think you all know that I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Help them build their economy so they can have job opportunities for these people. You're right. There is no easy solution in the long term to preventing and combating violent extremism. But if we can help countries work at the root causes of this, what makes these 17-year-old kids pick up an AK-47 instead of try to start a business?
Forget about the word jihadist. He'll never use that. But he refuses to use the word Islamist, which is used throughout the Muslim world. It's used by journalists, by authors.
We cannot continue to rely only on our military in order to achieve the national security objectives that we've set. We've got to have a civilian national security force that's just as powerful, just as strong, just as well funded.
On behalf of the Muslims of America, I present before you a documentary film in helping and training oppressed Muslims. I'm proud to say and to sit with my colleagues who have been successful in founding an international organization which is called Soldiers of Allah, SOA, and we are establishing training camps. You can reach us, at Groningen University offices in upstate New York, or in Canada, or in Michigan, or in South Carolina, or in Pakistan, wherever we are. You can reach us. You are most welcome to join one of our, advanced training course in Islamic military warfare.
The Clarion Project, who I work for, we broke this story about how a terrorist enclave has been detected in Texas. We know this from declassified FBI documents. There was originally some broad intelligence about it, and so we started investigating. We figured out the group's front organizations that they were using in Texas, and then some activists from a group called Act for America went and verified the specific location so that we made sure that we definitely knew what we were talking about, and then we got declassified FBI documents and confirmed it from that end.
وإن شاء الله بالبيت الأبيض سوف نرفع على راية لا إله إلا الله.
In 2001, ATF Special Agent Thomas P. Gallagher testified in court that individuals from the organization Muslims of the Americas are trained in Hancock, New York. And if they pass the training in Hancock, New York, are then sent to Pakistan for training in paramilitary and survivalist training by Mr. Jilani. On January 23, 2002, American journalist Daniel Pearl was kidnapped on his way to question Sheikh Mubarak Ali Jilani's connection to shoe bomber Richard Reed in downtown Karachi. 9 days later, Pearl was decapitated. On May 16th, his severed head and decomposed body were found cut into 10 pieces. Jilani was temporarily in Pakistani custody after the kidnapping. The main compound near the town of Hancock in upstate New York, known as Holy Islamburg, was founded in 1980 by Jilani as a religious sanctuary for devout Muslims. This land is located near the reservoir that supplies most of New York City's drinking water. In fact, most of the compounds are near strategic locations within the United States designed to affect a mass population event at any time.
According to the 2006 law enforcement report, Jilani opened his compounds near significant infrastructure targets. Islamville is less than 5 miles away from the Catawba nuclear facility.
The FBI's own documents define the Muslims of America as an autonomous organization which possesses an infrastructure capable of planning and mounting terrorist campaigns overseas and here within the U.S.
I mean, let's remember here, the people we are fighting today, we funded 20 years ago.
Continuing concern from counterterrorism officials that some militants could return home undetected.
If I were to say that we had it under control, then I would say I knew of every single individual traveling. I don't, and I don't know every person there, and I don't know everyone coming back. So it's not even close to being under control.
We had his fingerprints in a government system. How did he walk into America in 2009 and then at least 2 years later before he came up on our radar screen.
The two got here by filling out this Immigration Service refugee application form and simply checking no next to the boxes that asked if they had been involved in any form of terrorist activity. And prosecutors say Hamadi urged other attacks on U.S. soil. Quote, "Many things should take place, and it should be huge."
Another friend had 10 Chinese in his yard. There's Arabs coming. The Border Patrol said at one point 3 out of 10 that they apprehended was OTMs other than Mexicans. There's all kinds of people. This is a national security issue.
ISIS cells that were active in the Juarez area, which is northern part of Chihuahua State, and that they were moving around over there, that they had just that there was some activity, and for the sheriffs along the border to be on the alert, for all law enforcement to be on the alert, and to be on the lookout for these people maybe trying to come across.
The reason they picked Juarez could be a strategic move. This is just right across the border. Juarez is no more than a few miles to my left. Now we also have, many other buildings in this area that we've talked about. We have the military base. FBI has an office.
Do you have any information or any evidence that they're actually coming in the southern border now?
Yes. I
Tell me
have
what
information
you know.
that I know that at least 10 ISIS fighters have been caught coming across the Mexican border in Texas.
There seems to be at least talking to each other. How much, I don't know. But drug cartels use the same operational plan as terrorist groups do.
The rate of foreign fighter travel that we've seen in recent years is unprecedented. It exceeds the rate of travel and travelers who went to Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iraq, Yemen, or Somalia, other prominent conflict zones.
There are a variety of reasons why people...
But was radical Islam one of them?
There are a variety of reasons why people do these things. Some of them are potentially religious-based.
Okay, but all I'm asking is if you think among those variety of reasons, radical Islam might have been one of the reasons that the individuals took the steps that they did.
We see, say, radical Islam. I mean, I think those people who espouse a version of Islam that is not...
Are you uncomfortable attributing any of their actions to radical Islam? It sounds like
No,
it.
I don't want to say anything negative about a religion that is not
I'm not talking about a religion.
Like
I'm talking about radical Islam. I'm not talking about the general religion. Mr. A.G., it's hard to get an answer yes or no. But
Are we having this conversation about words as opposed to what our actions ought to be?
In things racial, we have always been, and we, I believe, continue to be, in too many ways, essentially a nation of cowards.
But I did not expect that from Eric Holder, who calls himself a law enforcement officer. And instead of talking responsibly, instead of measuring his words, because that's what's needed at a time like that, you got to measure what you say, because tensions are high, and the wrong thing said can make a bad situation worse. And he sat up there and talked about how he has seen law enforcement officers profile. He's been the victim of racial profiling himself, and he named 2 situations. One in a traffic stop in New Jersey, and he said, I remember feeling the indignation as they searched my vehicle. And then he talked about a situation when he was in Georgetown, not too far from here, and how he and a friend were stopped on the way to the movie theater, and they felt that they were racially profiled. And he said, I was a federal prosecutor when those things happened. And I said, wait a minute. Mr. Attorney General, if you felt those officers had violated your Fourth Amendment rights and you're a federal prosecutor and you didn't say anything at the time, on behalf of everybody in the United States, you could have done something if you felt that. You could have made a complaint.
And all you ISIS people threatening us, hey, we're not a French newspaper, okay? We got people that have taken your asses out in this building right now. We're armed to the teeth, and we're not scared. You got that, you sons of bitches?
And look, the Middle East is coming apart with this administration's policy. Look at Libya. We should never have gone into Libya. Gaddafi was on our side. Look at Egypt. Morsi is now going after the Muslim Brotherhood and the radical Islamists, and we've got Muslim Brotherhood in the U.S. government today. And so look at what's going on in Syria.
Who from the Muslim Brotherhood is in the U.S. government right now?
Who?
Yes.
Look, I haven't got their names exactly, but there's a list of them, at least 10 or 15 of them.
Do you know any major Arab ally that embraces ISIL?
I know major Arab allies who fund them.
he spent about an hour meeting with 5 different rebel commanders who came from all over Syria to plead with